fortune. But anyway, the guy at the desk says, so what's your name? What's the bird's name? I just said, Ralph. That's how he got his name. And he has a cage mate. It's called Norton. Anybody ever watch The Honeymooners? Ralph Norton, Ed Crampton, Jackie Gleason. Okay. It's a funny show. It's old, but still funny. Come on, Ralph. You're supposed to stay down here. Okay. What do you want to do? You want to wave to the kids, huh? All right, wave to them. All right, calm down. Wave to them. You're not going to wave to them? Come on, wave to them. Wave to them. So anyway, what happened was, took him to the vet, and there's a very good animal hospital up the road here. It's probably one of the best in the world. They have all kinds of specialists there, and they have 2 avian specialists. Come here, Rob. You're supposed to fly back to me. It's amazing that most of the time at home, he never flies away, but I guess when he's, see, I'm trying to get him used to a crowd and stuff, so he doesn't do that. On stage, getting paid for it. Okay. So you tire them out. It's like kids. You run them ragged so they go to sleep at night, Kids in front of a computer. The kid's not getting any exercise. Put them outside on the swings, or something. Run like crazy. Give them a big dog to hold on to, Okay, so anyway, there wasn't any, they just had some interns there. They didn't have the real specialists on duty because they're not there in the middle of the night. So they took it and they said, okay, we'll put them in like a really warm place with a lot of humidity, like vapor. It's good for the breathing. Humans too. Like steam, but you don't want to breathe the steam in because it'll burn you if it's right out of the kettle. But so I go back the next day, and now they have the avian specialists there. 2 of them there. Now, turns out avian specialists have to take all these exams and special board recognition. There are only 50 in the world, supposedly. And it's kind of hard to believe there's only 50. Now, if he drops something here, it's okay. I didn't feed him before because all he's supposed to, he didn't make any noise either because the other place he was cooing a lot. I don't feed him because, obvious reasons. I only want him to go coo, 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 and not poo, poo, poo. But, so the avian specialist comes out, this young blonde babe. She's a pretty nice thing. So, she started telling me about her life and stuff. And I said, well, what about the bird? Okay. She said, well, I don't know. We're not figuring out. They had a tube stuck in his neck, a little tube. So breathing, what do they call that?
Tracheectomy?
Tracheectomy, yeah. And but he was okay. He was acting better. He was eating. See, the night before, it was getting worse and worse. He was making this little noise, like sneezing, coughing or wheezing noise, and it got worse and worse. I should have taken him sooner. But anyway, he was doing better. He was eating. So they said, well, I don't know if he's going to make it. They said, what? What do you mean? He said, he's much better now. And they said, well, okay, you know the bird better than we do. I said, well, we're going to check him out for all these things. All right, here's some. So they kept him like 2 or 3 days. And like on a Friday, they said, well, he might not make it, and you spent a lot of money already. We don't want to see you spend any more money. Why don't you take him home? Okay, we're going to give you some medicine. And come in next week. Come in Tuesday or something. So he was fine when I went home. Gave him some medicine, blah, 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 blah. I used to have to take him in every couple of weeks. And then they said, wow, unbelievable. They didn't believe they cured him. So happened a couple of months later, again, only this time it wasn't quite as serious. I took them right away, and they kept them, for a while. But I think, I don't know if they gave him the tracheotomy then or not, I can't remember. You remember if they gave you that? No? You don't want to remember, I think. So it happened a couple of months later, like I said. But anyway, after that, he was okay. Happened a few other times, but I was giving him this medication. I realized what it was. They thought it was, they had all these weird diseases they thought he had. Like, what are they talking about? What's that one?
Cancer.
Get from needles, hepatitis, blah, blah, blah. So, found out he's allergic to birds. It's my guess. What it is they give off a powder on their skin. It's like dandruff that people have, and it's normal. But if you're around a lot of birds and there's no ventilation, poor ventilation, the powder can get in your lungs. It's bad for humans too. So that's what I figured it was. So I isolate him. I keep him in a separate room. He's got his own bedroom. And he's okay, you know. And he was in the cage with another one. They said, now bring the other one up because if he has something that might be contagious, we want to check the other one out. The other one was fine. The other one's name's Norton, after Ralph Cramden. Ralph Cramden, Ed Norton, TV show. So that was a story, $2,000 later. But, so he's the most expensive bird I have. Ralphie, over here. So I had a cat, and this bird, when he was young, he used to sit on the cat's head. I'd have him sitting on the cat's head, and the cat wouldn't do anything. He was a kind of a mellow cat, big orange, long-haired cat, and Maine Coon cat, I think. So one time the bird's sitting on his head, and I watch him very carefully because you can't trust cats around birds. Bird started flapping his wings. The cat ran under the bed. Go figure, But he's okay now, and he's been pretty good. He's probably, they live to be about 25. They can live up to 20, 25 years if you take care of them. You got to give them vitamins in the water. Some of the new foods out now have vitamins in the seed. They coat it. And you got to give them gravel, grit. It's a little fine ground up stone because they don't have teeth. So the way they grind up the seeds is they eat these little tiny stones. They keep them in the throat. They call it
A gizzard, right?
Gizzard, I guess, a gullet, yeah. And they grind up the stones. So that's his story. And they wanted to do a write-up about him, and about the fact that he's a magician's bird and all this baloney. So they asked me to write up something. So I wrote up what he does in the act, what the tricks he does and all that. And I had a little BS there. But and I told him how, he gets sick at Brownville Hospital and a certain doctor took care of him, blah, 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 blah. So sure enough, a few months later, they sent me a big envelope and had like a glossy 3-4 page newsletter, so to speak. I think they turn them out 4 times a year. And there was an article about him in there, so he made the press. Now, a few things he does, like I can hypnotize him. You ever see a bird hypnotized? Well, okay. Now, Ralph, we're going to do this as we rehearsed, right? On the count of 3, yeah, you don't fly away. On the count of 3, okay, your eyes are going to get heavier and heavier, and when I reach 3, you're going to fall into a deep, sound sleep. You got that straight? Yep, okay. So, here we go. They like to be patted like this, from head to the tail. For some reason, it calms them down. Ready? You're gonna cooperate, I hope. So, look into my eyes, Ralph. Ralph, right here. Right here. Count of 3. You're gonna fall into a deep, deep sleep. And you'll only wake up when I tell you to. Okay? So ready? 1, 2, 2.5, 3. Didn't work. All right, try it once more. Ready? 1, 2. Ralph. 3. Almost. Almost. Come on, you're gonna make me look bad. 1, 2, 3. Just let him do it by himself. Okay. See, that hits the ground. Come on, Ralph. Hey. See that? See, what it is they look down and they don't want to fall. They're afraid to fall. So they just kind of, see, most of them will do that. And he usually stays, but for some reason today he's not. Okay, one more time, Ralph. Or else you know what happens to you. Take you to Chinatown. All right, we won't press him. So, got a trick I'm gonna do here. Ralph, you sit over here. Okay. I'm gonna double bags. Now, Ralph.
Yes.
Which one you want to go into? That one? Okay. I'm going to put them in this bag, right? Turn it this way. I'm not going to try to fool you with it. This way. I'm doing it this way. Put them in this bag, right? And, okay? Now, watch carefully. On the count of 3, make them go from this bag to that bag by osmosis or dematerialization. 1, 2, 3. See him go? Yep. Hey, Ralph. How you doing? He's in there. Now, the hard part is to make him go back. Okay? So, count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Yep. Yep, there he is. He's back. Why are you guys laughing? You don't believe me. Okay. Let me put him in the other cage. Okay. Hey, Ralph. Okay there. All right. So, 1. Now, watch carefully. I'm going to do it slowly. 1, 2, 3. Ralphie, over there? Yep, he's there. No one is hurt during this. No one is hurt during these exhibitions. So, what I do, sometimes I do a kid show, and I do some things with the bird and all that, and then I put him in his cage or whatever, and sometimes I tell the kids, okay, now, Ralph, now don't be doing that. Ralph, don't be doing that. Ralph. 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 I had this show, I did this one little kid up front. It cracked them up. I mean, the kids couldn't stop laughing. Everybody else, the kids laughed. Most of them laughed, you know. This kid's laughing and laughing. He's rolling on the ground. I don't know. It hit some kids funnier than others, but it was worth it. So that's the story. There's another thing I do with him, but I don't like to do it because people think I'm being, they think I'm hurting them, and I'm not. And there's no bird in that other bag, so don't worry about it. Some people get freaked out. There's an old trick. It's very old. It's like 2,000 or 3,000 years old, I think. They used to do this mostly with chickens and ducks, but you can do it just about every bird. Take their head, make the head disappear, and boom, throw a handkerchief, head's back on there. I mean, there's no blood or anything, although you can fake it so there will be. But I don't do it. Kids, I don't like to do it because they think you're hurting them. But it's an old trick, so if you ever see anybody do it, the bird's not hurt. I don't think I'll do it today. Or should I?
Do it.
Well, I don't know if I can do it. Let's see. Hey, Ralph. Oh, I know why you're nervous. He knows what's going to happen to him. All right, Ralph. Ready? Okay. Whoa. Actually, what I really do with doves is not this. This kind of stuff is just on the side. I don't do this on my regular show. What I come up with like tuxedo and stuffed tails, silk handkerchief, everything's, there's no talking in my silent, they call it a silent act. So there's no talking in my silent act, right? So it's serious, it's music, background, silk handkerchief, wrap it up in a little ball, open it, and the bird's in there. A lot of things with birds coming out, silk handkerchiefs, things like that. But anyway, let me see. Ralphie, you ready? Take the head. He's a good sport. See, don't do anything you're not supposed to do here. All right. Well, that's Ralph. I have some others at home. These were all born from some of the birds I had before, but I had so many of them, I had to give some away. So the parents I gave away because they were a breeding pair. Someone wanted a pair that bred, but he's one of the babies. As a matter of fact, I think all the birds I have, except two, they're brothers, and these guys. They don't get along with anybody. They don't even get along with themselves. You put your hand in the cage, he comes over and he attacks you. I mean, they can't hurt you, but they're very territorial. Like, you put your hand there, he comes over and he starts cooing, making this aggressive noises coming toward you with his beak. As soon as you open the cage, put your hand there, he's all right. It's not, because you're inside the cage, he figures it's not a threat. But same thing if another bird goes near the cage, they go nuts. So, two brothers, and they're both that way. One of them is Woody, the other one is Alan. Alan, I call Mad Dog. That's his nickname, Mad Dog.
Mad Dog.
He gets really, okay. So, guys, the thing on integration by parents. I talked about this formula before. In all of these problems, except for the last one, they all have a similar solution. If you call that part U and you call this part dV, then when you integrate cosine, you get sine. When you integrate secant squared, you get tangent. When you integrate tangent times secant dx, you get secant. When you integrate e to the x, you get e to the x, you see? This is the only one where that doesn't work. In this one, what you call u is the ln of x. And what you call dv is x dx. But we can integrate x dx, right? You get x squared over 2. So everything except the ones with the logarithm, you call u the x. Now, I want you to make up 3 others after seeing these, and I think you know what I'm talking about, right? If I replace cosine by what? That
Tangent.
can be integrated. What'd you say?
I didn't say
Oh,
anything.
yeah. Well, if I have sine x there, it would work, right? If I have sine x instead of cosine.
Yeah.
Because if I had a cosecant squared, that would work, right? If I had cotangent times cosecant. There are times when the power is different than 1. It's 2. So when you get to this part here, you sometimes have to do that by parts again. And that'll occur when that's, say, a 2 power. This part here now is going to look like that part. So you have to do that again, you know what I'm saying? So that's the idea here. And there's one other thing called a flip-flop, but I'll save that till Monday. So have a good weekend, and next show will be...
20 minutes and 42 seconds.
Nice.
1 minute and 42 seconds of which consists
Yeah.
the other 20 was all about Ralph.